Hello friends, this is Astrologer Mohnish and thank you for watching my videos about Vedic Astrology. In this video, we'll be covering the topic of childbirth. How you can see in the birth chart whether the child is promised or not promised. Many couple who struggle to have a children, it's very important for them to understand that astrology can pinpoint whether they can have a children or when they can have a children, or will they find any complexities like miscarriages or not being able to have a children. It's very easy and very accurate using the predictive Vedic astrology and also the concept of classical Vedic astrology. Now I'll come straight to the topic here without any analysis by paralysis, and this is how you should learn astrology also. Astrology is a science which is called Jyotish, the light in the future, and this is what can tell you everything about your life and the probabilities you have in the future. The probabilities, when they meet with your free will, they produce results. The planets produce certain combinations which shows that what is your probability in your life for anything what you're trying to do. All you have to do is press the pedal with your free will, Karma Yoga, and get that fruit in your life. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here with you to go over some of the rules for childbirth, and then I'm going to do one case study in front of you of my real client. So if you see my slide here, the rules for childbirth is very easy. When we talk about from the perspective of the Nari or the predictive astrology, the 5th house is the house of the childbirth. So if you don't know how to see your chart, you can, I'm just laying down here. So if this is a horoscope, 5th house is house of your creation. This is the house of creativity, and children is also your creation. So 5th is house of progeny, 5th is house of children, 5th is house of your creation. So this is the prime house of your childbirth. And see this in girl's chart. 70% of the time we see the girl's chart, that how much strength they have to conceive a child. And then we also have to see the men's chart. If we see that the combination of girls' charts are looking very good, but still couple are facing to produce a child, then you need to see the boys' chart as well. So childbirth is 5th house. Again in the family, 2nd house is house of your family. It shows that there will be increment in your family when the child is born. And 11 is your fulfillment of your desire. 11th house is all your desires. So the combination of 2, 5, 11, 2, 5, 11 is granted childbirth if it is shown in the Dasha and Bhukti, D and B planet, Dasha Lord and the Bhukti Lord. The negation of childbirth happens is, again the rule is same, 12th house from every house negates the purpose of that house. So the 5th house is the house of children, and the 4th, which is the 12th house from 5th house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, this is the 12th house from 5th house, and 12th means losses, 12th means cancellation, 12th means not letting the house to give you the results of the previous house. So 5th is the house of the children, 4th is the negation of the children. So 4th house, 12th from 5th negates the childbirth, and 1 means you are again no family increment, and 10 means that your fulfillment is not being met with your desire. So 1, 4, 10 is a combination according to the Nadi astrology. The combination of houses tells us whether the children will be born or any event in your life will happen or not happen. So 2, 5, 11 is yes, and 1, 4, 10 is no. And you have to see this in the planet, nakshatra at the sublord level. All 3 levels. This is called the Nadi astrology. Nadi means the channel, the complete channel of the planet. So that channel means not only the placement of planet, but also its nakshatra, where it is sitting, and its sublord. Sublord is the Navamsh, the 9th division of the sublord. Very, very microscopic. Please watch my previous videos to understand these concepts if you are coming new to this topic. But this is the most accurate science in this whole world. I assure you this. Okay, but before we go into this is a combination from the Nadi astrology, but there are some special rules coming from the classic Vedic astrology too. And what are those rules? I'm going to draw that here also for you. So if you see the classic Vedic astrology, which is also very important when you're doing a predictive astrology, you have to use many techniques. Jupiter is a planet of children. Jupiter is a natural significator of childbirth. If Jupiter wants, it can guarantee you a childbirth. And I can guarantee you personally as well, as an astrologer who has invested his life from 22 years, Jupiter sitting in first house means it is aspecting your fifth house. So again, Jupiter sitting in fifth house or aspecting fifth house from first house, or sitting in ninth house. From here Jupiter is aspecting fifth again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Jupiter aspects 7, 5 and 9 houses from where it is sitting. In your cuspal chart, not the Lagna chart, the cuspal chart is D1 cuspal chart, and I'm going to show you in the example right now. In your cuspal chart, if Jupiter is aspecting fifth house or sitting in fifth house, or it is in conjunction with the fifth lord, let's say fifth lord is Mars or Saturn or Sun, any other planet, and Jupiter is sitting with that planet in any house, that means Jupiter is blessing you to have a child. Again, the rule is very simple. Jupiter is the natural significator of childbirth. If Jupiter wants, it can give you multiple childbirths, one after the another, and it's also depending on your time and age where you are. You know, you have to be healthy and conducive with your age to produce children, but Jupiter is a blessing to give you childbirth instantaneously whenever you want, whenever you put in your free will. So Jupiter from ninth house is aspecting your fifth house. Jupiter from first house is aspecting your fifth house. Jupiter sitting in fifth house or Jupiter sitting in 11th house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 aspecting your fifth house. This will guarantee you childbirth as long as Jupiter has the relevant strength. Strength means the Shadbal. The Shadbal means a sixfold strength of the planet Jupiter. If the Jupiter has a Shadbal, the energy, watch my previous videos about Shadbal, the strength of planets, if you're new to this concept. Shadbal of Jupiter, sixfold strength of Jupiter is there, and it is aspecting fifth house, sitting in fifth house, childbirth will happen. Okay, and I'll show you one of the examples here. In this, even if there is 1, 4, 10 shown in the planets or even in Jupiter, it doesn't matter. Jupiter is a natural significator. It can override any combination of negation of child also. So Jupiter can cancel 1, 4, 10 if it is aspecting fifth house, sitting in fifth house, or sitting with fifth house lord. Fifth house lord could be any planet, and if Jupiter and that planet are sitting together, all you need to do is increase the strength of your Jupiter and you will get a childbirth. I guarantee you that. Now, what can defeat this? The defeat of this happens when Ketu comes and sits in fifth house. If you have Ketu in your fifth house, Ketu means separation, detachment, moksha, spirituality. If you have Ketu in your fifth house or in your husband's chart, it will severely limit your childbirth. Severely limit your childbirth or no child. Open many charts and do this research. I guarantee you this. Ketu in fifth house, you will have only one child, limited child, for both husband and wife chart. Ketu should not be in the fifth house. If it is there, then limits the child. If Ketu is there and Jupiter is also aspecting, then some kind of healing is coming in. So you still have a child, but it can again limit it or delay it. Saturn in fifth house delays the childbirth. Saturn is never a force of denial. It's a force of delay. It's a force of transformation. This is the area of your life where the heavy lifting is required. The efforts are required. Saturn in fifth house delays it. Ketu is spiritual, limits it. or will not may even give you. Jupiter aspect will give you. And then the final is you need to see is if there is any Pitra Dosha in boy or girl's chart. Pitra Dosha, the dosha of your ancestors. Pitra Dosha. Watch my videos about the doshas, in few of the episodes before this one. So Pitra Dosha happens when you have your ninth lord. Pitra Dosha happens. I'm going to redraw it here. So it's called Pitra Dosha, the ancestry curse. Lot of couples come to me who are aspiring to have children, childbirth, but they are not having it. And the first thing I see is always if the Pitra Dosha, the ancestry curse, the curse of ancestors. Ancestors, this is a curse which causes miscarriages and no children. So if Rahu and Sun are conjunct in your chart, sitting together in one house or mutually aspecting each other, the Pitra Dosha is forming. Or the ninth lord could be any planet in your chart. Okay, any planet, Mars, Sun, Venus, Jupiter, depending on your ascendant sign. And if the ninth lord is sitting with Rahu, Rahu is Chandal. Okay, Rahu causes the severe problems in the life if it is sitting very close to one of your good planets. So Rahu sitting with the ninth lord or Rahu sitting with Sun is causing you the Pitra Dosha curse, and this curse will again produces limited children, miscarriages, problem, issues, complexities, C-sections, or even denial of children. So these are the things you must see first in the chart before you try to predict whether the childbirth will happen or not. Natural significator, Jupiter. See Ketu's position. Then see Pitra Dosha. And then you come straight to the Nadi astrology to see which planet is showing the promise of childbirth and which is not showing it. I'm going to show you one case study here. Due to the lack of time, I have more than hundreds of charts of couples for whom I have given a right, accurate predictions. But for the limit of this video timings, I'm going to show one of the case studies to you to explain you the concept. Okay. So I'm going to open my Horosoft. You can use any software you have. Jagannath Hora can do the same thing. This is my client. And if you see, I'm going to bring straight here the coordinates of childbirth, the significators of childbirth. And again, the rules are same. I'm going to redraw it here. So if you have 511 means the childbirth. This 511 means childbirth. See the and 1 4 10 means no childbirth. So this is a denial. Okay, and you see if we bring childbirth here, we see that Ketu is denying the child. We see the complete Nadi of the planet, the nakshatra and its sublord. 1 4 is here, 1 4 10 denial of children. Venus is denying the children. Red means they are negative houses. Green means they are good. So desire is there to increase a family. 211 means the family desire to increase a family member, but the planets are denying it. Sun is denying it. So is Moon is neutral. It's not showing anything. No 5, no 4. Mars is strongly denying it in nakshatra. Rahu is denying it in nakshatra. Jupiter is also denying it here with 4 in the sublord, and sublord is stronger than nakshatra. Nakshatra is stronger than planet. This is the most important line, the sublord. The most important is the sublord, then the nakshatra, then the planet in terms of their strength, in terms of their weightage. Saturn is neutral, again no 5, no 4, and then Mercury is, planet is saying yes, but sublord is saying no. So most of the planets, rather all the planets are denying the childbirth. And my client reached out to me. She was struggling, not been having a child, and when I saw the chart, I knew this combination is all showing no children, no childbirth. But look at Jupiter sitting in first house, aspecting the 5th house. So I knew childbirth is promised. Now, even if Jupiter is showing 4, it's overridden because Jupiter, the natural significator of childbirth, is aspecting the 5th house of progeny. So let's look at the Shadbal of Jupiter. so that we can draw a better picture that whether Jupiter has strength or not. So if you see the Shadbal here, you could click on Jupiter and you can use it Jagannath Hora to see. And you see that Jupiter has strength, 414. So it has a strength. It can give results. It has a strength of more than what is the required strength. And what is the fifth house strength? Click on the fifth house, the house of progeny. It also has strength. It's opening up in this window. It also has strength. So we know that just by adding a little bit more strength to the Jupiter, we can get this girl conceive a child. So what we did is we gave this girl a beautiful, flawless 5 carats of yellow sapphire to wear in her index finger left hand. And we also gave her one special combination of Rudraksh beads to protect her baby, to protect herself when she is going to conceive. And you see there is, if there is any Pitra Dosha happening in her chart, so 9th Lord is Mars. Mars and Rahu, they are not sitting together, no Pitra Dosha. And Sun and Rahu are also not sitting together, so there is no Pitra Dosha in her chart. And I saw her husband's chart also, there is no Pitra Dosha. So I knew childbirth can happen if we remove the 4 from Jupiter, even though Jupiter is naturally removing it, but we need to add more strength to the Jupiter by chanting mantras of Jupiter, by wearing a yellow sapphire, flawless Ceylonese yellow sapphire, and also wearing a special Rudraksh, which is my trade secret, what I give to my clients to increase their probability of their desires to fructify. So that Rudraksh helped the baby and the mother during the whole pregnancy time. And this is how she conceived the child and gave birth to a beautiful, beautiful girl, baby girl. Now you also can see some of the, so when you're making a prediction, also see that what are the Dasha Lord ruling her. So when she consulted me, it was sometime during Venus and Jupiter Dasha. So Jupiter Dasha was going on, but you see Venus here is denying childbirth and Jupiter is denying from the Nadi perspective, but we can exploit it by adding the power to the Jupiter since it is respecting the 5th house. So what I'm trying to draw is here is, let me draw it. So Venus and Jupiter are in the Mahadasha and the Antardasha. Venus is denying the child. Jupiter is also denying in the sublord level because Venus, the planet here, becomes the sublord of Jupiter. So all we need to do is increase the strength of Jupiter so that it can override its sublord. And it's aspecting the 5th house. It will give you the childbirth no matter what. Okay. And then you can also see in transits. So when people ask me what is the most conducive time for the childbirth, when we should plan. So the answer is first the dashas and the bhuktis should be positive for the childbirth. Increase of your family desire. You want a family. 11 means your desire has been manifested. But you also see that along with dasha and bhukti lord, the transits are very conducive. So normally, I'm not going to into details of that transits right now, but what you do is if you open the transit chart, which you can see while overlaying it on top of the Lagna chart, it's coming here. So this is the transit chart. So the best time of conducive time for the childbirth is when the Dasha and the Bhukti Lord, that is the Venus and the Jupiter, are hovering in the 5th house. If Venus and Jupiter comes in here, this house, in transits, keep going forward, back, Venus transits one house every month. Or they make a, Venus is the Lord of 5th house, so if it comes in the 5th house, and it's a Dasha Lord also, provided we have a Jupiter strength, the childbirth can happen. Whenever Jupiter transiting in your 5th house, or respecting 5th house, let's say if I go back few months, Jupiter will be in, this is the transit chart. So if I go few months back, you see Jupiter is in her 1st house in transit. Here it is, 28 degrees. Let's go one more month back, just bringing it in the center. Okay. So if Jupiter is here in 28 degree in the first house in transit, so this is the transit chart, and this is the natal chart, overlay of each other. So Jupiter is in the first house and aspecting fifth house, 6, 10, 20, 21. Guaranteed childbirth, because Jupiter is in transit, is also aspecting the fifth house. And from the cuspal chart, Jupiter is sitting in first house, also aspecting fifth house. We added the strength of Jupiter by giving the yellow sapphire, increased the Shadbal, gave a special Rudraksh combination, and the childbirth happened during this time, within this range. So this is how you do. The best time to have a child is when the Jupiter is aspecting your fifth house or hovering over fifth house, and your Dasha Bhukti lords are showing the right combination of 5, 11 to give you the child. Or if the Dasha lords, Bhukti lords are not showing this combination, and Jupiter is not aspecting in the cuspal chart or sitting in the fifth house, then it seriously gets very, very difficult to get a childbirth. There are still many remedies to do that, but it gets very, very challenging, and maybe in some of the videos in future I'll show you those case studies also where childbirth would have become impossible. Again, Ketu sits in fifth house here, or any Pitra Dosha in your chart can severely limit your childbirth, And Ketu here and Pitra Dosha for boys and girls chart needs to be seen together to make sure that there is a strength in both the husband and a wife chart, the partner's chart, to produce a healthy baby. In transits, whenever Jupiter is here in the fifth house or aspecting fifth house, when you produce a baby during that time, those children are very, very noble and the most auspicious child. Maybe some of your ancestors taking rebirth in your life. So the timing of childbirth, when people ask me the question, what should be the best time for us to get the best soul coming in this world? Jupiter, my dear friends, Jupiter. Jupiter is a Sattvic planet, the planet of enlightenment, planet of wisdom, planet of knowledge, and the planet of creation. In transits, whenever it hovers your fifth house, aspects your fifth house, sits with the fifth house lord, you must try to have a children at that time. The children born during that period will be the most noble souls coming in your life. This is Astrologer Mohnish. Learn astrology from me if you really want to change your life and transform the life of your near and dear ones and yours also. Textbooks astrology does not work. Learning from online videos from so many sources does not work. Learn it from somebody who can teach you as your guru. And this is how you should learn that astrology does not work with only one principle, with one method. You have to combine the methods to get the right, accurate results. Astrologer Mohnish, once again, thank you for watching my videos. I will see you in my next video very soon. God bless, stay safe and stay happy. Thank you very much.